Good afternoon. This is Karen Tully reporting on behalf of the Republican Women of Baltimore County, and we're here this evening with Dr. Tony Campbell for his fundraiser for the Baltimore County Council. And Dr. Campbell is both an educator, a politician. I know that you also have your master's in divinity and your doctorate in ministry. And I read that you actually did your thesis on the care of veterans and suicide.
Yep.
So that impressed me because it showed me that you had a heart from a long time ago caring for people. And I just asked you what the yellow ribbon was.
Yeah, it's for veteran suicide prevention, and I wrote my dissertation on the role of faith in suicide prevention and how communities can come together and have a kind of a grassroots a way of reaching veterans and military personnel and try to be there and be present with them and because everyone has moments of that they need help.
I know we have hotlines and everything for that nowadays. So let's move to you being a professor at Towson State. What I find is, unfortunately, and I'm sure you've seen this also, many people don't even know what civics is nowadays.
Yeah.
So would you just, for our audience, please explain what the county councilman or person does and why it is important in a government role?
Well, local government is the level of government that's closest to the people, and it's the thing that impacts your life every single day. I'm running on three things. One is infrastructure, and what I mean by that is the fact that our local government and people in Towson basically decided what businesses were essential, what businesses were not. And I talk to small mom and pop businesses every single day, and they tell me that they got absolutely no help. And they use their life savings, the rest of their life savings, to keep their businesses open. Local government shouldn't tell you how to, one, live your life, and two, that you can't provide for your family. So I think that's important.
I live close to Ellicott City, and I know what you're saying. There's so many mom and pop businesses down there, and so many have closed down, including restaurants in the area. I'm sure you've seen that also. So is that one of your major philosophies, that we need to get big government out of business in many areas?
Well, we need to rediscover what the proper role of government is. And I think, unfortunately, last couple of years with not only the pandemic, but the government's response to the pandemic, every time that we are afraid, we tend to give up our liberty and our freedom, and I think most people just don't understand that there's a good reason for limited government. And quite frankly, it's so we can live the lives that we want to live and not have to worry about government overreach. So, that's important to me. Education, of course, that's a local government issue. It's not a federal issue. It's a state and local issue.
Can I ask you something? You're right in there with the trenches at school. Do you see a lot of the more liberal policies with the young kids? Do you think we're seeing the growth of Republicans and for an appreciation of the Constitution?
Absolutely not. I think, unfortunately, the reason why our public schools are the way that they are is because of teacher education programs in our universities and our colleges, right? Because you kind of get into the indoctrination at that level, and then what our kids are taught in public schools are what these young people are taught in these teacher education programs. So there's very little talk about the Constitution and citizenship and civics and any of that stuff. It's more about your feelings and how you should demonstrate and how you should be. They call it civic engagement, but what they really mean is how to not have the America that we think is important, right? So go ahead.
So would you say that the education has to start at home?
Education and morals, and that's one of the things that I'm just so upset about is that I have a 9-year-old, I have a third grader, and having that discussion as parents is difficult enough about choices in sexuality and those kind of things and morals, but I don't want a 25-year-old teacher who's barely out of undergrad to be teaching my daughter about morals or sexuality. Absolutely not. And those are the things that trouble me with education. And then on top of that is, where do our money go? So there's a fiscal responsibility. There's getting kind of morality out of the classroom and letting parents do that. Those things are very important.
Now, you talked about fiscal responsibility. This has to do with Baltimore City, but in Baltimore City, they spend $16,000, I think, for each student. And often, a lot of the things that are happening there we're now seeing in the suburbs, like crime. And I think that's also one of the things that concerns you, the crime in Baltimore County.
Well, last year was a record number of homicides and violent crime in Baltimore County. And, while there's a variety of different reasons why, right? And we can have a long conversation about that. But as far as government's concerned, and what we can do as far as government is, quite frankly, we need to have a voice about what's happening in Baltimore City. It needs to be a regional approach to crime, regional approach to how we deal with people who commit these crimes. And quite frankly, Marilyn Mosby should have been gone.
Now, Dr. Campbell, talk a little bit more about that. When you say a regional approach, what exactly do you mean? Is Baltimore City and Baltimore County talking more to each other?
Well, in the 6th District where I'm running, there's York Road, Greenmount, Pulaski Highway, Perring Parkway, Bel Air Road, Hartford Road, that are major connectors between Baltimore City and Baltimore County. People who want to do bad things aren't going to pay attention to an imaginary line drawn on a map. They're going to get on buses. They're going to travel in their cars, and they're going to go to the places where they think they can get away with the crime. And quite frankly, Baltimore County, the reason why our crime's gone up is because we're right next to Baltimore City. We're very connected to Baltimore City, and so instead of kind of washing our hands and acting like it's not going on, or more importantly, so let me tell you a story, Karen. So there's this woman, this 69-year-old woman, who was killed in that church. She was there on that morning volunteering in her church, and she was killed. A Democrat state senator had the gall to post a Facebook picture with this woman saying that he's so sorry that it happened, should never happen again, and he's a state senator. What you don't know is that the state senate can remove the district attorney, the state's attorney in any county in Baltimore City tomorrow. They can do it. They have the constitutional right to do it, but they're Democrats, and they don't want to step up. And they don't want to, say, I'm a Democrat. I don't want to be against another Democrat. Well, aren't you supposed to be about the people and making sure that they're able to have their life, liberty, and the pursuit of their happiness?
Well, weren't you a Democrat at one point? You came over to the Republican Party?
I was a Democrat when I was younger,
20-something
years ago.
Right?
And then, what's so funny
Well,
is
I think what's important about that is that you probably see some of the Democrat ideologies, but as we get older, we learn more, and I think you said in what I read about you that it was a lot of the fiscal responsibility, and the Democrats became far too liberal.
Well, I moved down here to Baltimore, and actually I ran the guy's campaign. He was running for Congress, and I just realized, quite frankly, how much the Democrat Party takes African American votes for granted, and they don't even provide services to their people, or take care of the people that they're supposed to be representing. So that kind of, I couldn't abide by that. I couldn't stand, I can't stand to be part of a system that's broken. And so, I told my friends all the time, being Republican in Maryland's tough, but I'd rather tilt against windmills all day long, every day, fighting a good fight instead of being part of a corrupt system.
We're seeing the Republicans win in some of the other states. I have a question for you. Is Maryland a sanctuary state? Baltimore County, is it sanctuary?
Yes, Baltimore County is, which is one of the things that we can,
Let me stop you for a second. Could you explain what a sanctuary city is? Because I can tell you, I was talking about it last week with some young people. They had no idea what a sanctuary city even meant.
Well, it's just, codifying or putting in law that it's okay for illegals to come here, and providing services, and that's the important thing. And one of the things that kind of annoys me about our current governors run, and some of the folks that are running for governor, is they don't even understand what power they have at the state level to get rid of the sanctuary policy, right? Because the state is sovereign. So if the state of Maryland tomorrow wants to say we're going to do 287G, we're gonna not provide and allow services to be provided to these people who are here illegal, undocumented, whatever you want to call them, I guarantee you that stops tomorrow.
That's great.
But people don't want to step up. People, they want to make the hard choices. So, and at the local level, they shouldn't even have they don't even have the authority to do that. So if I get elected to county council, we'll have a 4-3 Republican majority, and we'll get rid of that nonsense.
Okay. Now, you mentioned 3 pillars of your platform. Did we cover all those? I think you said.
Yep. Yes, we did.
Why should people vote for you?
I believe in common sense approaches to limited government. So, I'm currently on the school board nomination commission, and
Congratulations.
And being on that board and choosing school board members, people don't really understand how important local government actually is. Because especially education, you're talking about raising, you're talking about educating your children, and more importantly, 2022, in my opinion, is about the republic. Either we're going to teach people what it means to be American and what it means to be a citizen, or 20, 30 years from now, we won't even recognize this country.
Maybe even sooner than that.
And it's very scary, and was it Ben Franklin said to, I forget the woman's name, but basically she said, Dr. Franklin, what kind of government did you give us? And Dr. Franklin said, a republic, if you can keep it. We're so close to not having a republic anymore.
It's scary. Where can people contact you in order to help with your campaign? Also, in order to further hear about some of your policies and be updated, we will be on Facebook and 6 other platforms this interview, and hopefully you'll share that. But where can they contact you, Dr. Campbell?
CampbellforMaryland.com. It's Campbell spelled out like the soup, the number 4, Maryland spelled out.com. Same handle on Facebook, same handle on Twitter. So Campbell for Maryland. That's where you can reach the campaign, and we'll see you on the trail.
So thank you so much. God bless you. God bless your campaign, and God bless your little 3rd grader. She needs it in this world, right? I have a girl in college, so I understand.
Yep.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.